any type of entrepreneurship. We have a ton of programming for that. Great, amazing resources and great, amazing people to work with. So head on over to our website. And I'm going to send it right back over to Siobhan, and we are going to get started.
Thank you so much, Tanisha. And I am live streaming this to Facebook as well. So I want to introduce Ms. Marita Garrett first, and I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself as well. Marita Garrett is the mayor of Wilkinsburg, and she is also the president and CEO of Civically. She is the CEO of Margar Enterprises, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. Co-founder of Free Store Wilkinsburg, which I want to definitely come over and donate. I have a lot of good things to donate for you guys. Yes. An adjunct professor of the University of Pittsburgh. She co-hosts on Shattered Glass podcast, which I love podcasts. Oh my gosh. And then she also represents a host of organizations. And I am showing she's a board member to the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, Phipps Conservatory, and Botanical Gardens, as well as Emerge Pittsburgh. And she is also highly educated with a bachelor's degree of science in psychology from the University of Pittsburgh, and she has a master's of arts in psychology from Chatham. So you go right. You go,
girl. You just slated it all off. All right, there we go.
You go.
Thank you.
And then we also have the beautiful Miss Diamonte Walker, or Diamante, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Diamante Walker. And she is the Deputy Executive Director of the Urban Redevelopment Authority of the City of Pittsburgh, the URA. And I know a lot of you know about the URA. Y'all are doing some amazing things. Amazing. This is where she provides strategy, vision, operations management, team development, and also leadership, guys. She is also extremely educated, and she has an MBA and Master of Science in Management and Leadership from Western Governors University. She is a mayoral appointee to Pittsburgh's Land Bank Board. She serves on the Neighborhood Allies and Innovate Pittsburgh boards, and she currently sits on the Housing Opportunity Funds Advisory Board, which we do need to take advantage of. We definitely do, yes.
For sure.
For sure, yes, for sure.
Amazing amount of cute glasses.
Oh, right. Yes. Right, yes.
Thank you so much for the warm introduction. It is an honor to be here. I'm very much looking forward to this discussion. So thank you, Tanisha, Siobhan, for having me.
You're welcome. And I do want to start with a quote. So I totally agree with this quote, but it says, "Black women have always been the unheralded driving force of this nation." Just my opinion. We must stay prepared to lead spiritually, mentally, intellectually, and emotionally. And that is by Fatima Halim. And yes, I'm super excited about today. So with this work in real life, guys, we are going to be talking about several different topics, but we want to hit on any type of challenges and roadblocks that you may have had in getting to where you are today. How do you stay true to yourself, in this day and age with everything that's going on? And also we're going to open up for questions so that people can join in and it can be a true discussion. So many people see challenges as roadblocks, but Black women see them as opportunities. And I can definitely say that for myself. How can I take this challenge and make it an opportunity and excel at what I'm trying to do? So we have the power to initiate change. We simply just need to show up and do it. And the first question that I'm going to ask, and I apologize, did you want to... Sorry, guys, this is our first one, but did you want to introduce yourself a little bit further? I don't want to...
I think you did a great job, so no, you did a great job.
Okay. So I'll just hop into the first question. So what type of challenges or barriers have you had to overcome to get to where you are today?
Ooh, are we starting back in 1986? Or no, I'm sorry, but no. No, well, first, I do want to say thank you, Siobhan, Tanisha, for hosting this, and it's always an honor to be in any space with Diamante. But in regards to the question you presented, challenges so many, because as you even stated in the opening quote, Black women, we have to find the opportunities within challenges. We are, you know, Black History Month, and so Malcolm X has been on repeat. So the quote that, the Black woman is the most disrespected, neglected being on the earth. But yet we're always at the front lines of any equitable social justice movement. And we've saved America how many times? 2020, just that alone. So there's always going to be those challenges. It's just really not, for me, I would say how I overcome it. I never look at my race or my gender as a less than. Or I know it may be a little harder, but I don't go in with the deficit where I'm the only Black person in the room, I'm the only Black woman in the room, this is how they're going to look at me. No, I know my worth. I know where I need to be. I know the tables that I sit, or create my own tables, create my own space. So, for me, those challenges are going to be there, but it adds to the resiliency and strength of the work that we do, or particularly in my case, of what I do. It has really shaped the leadership. Every year, there's always something different. Every day there's always something different, and it's really about what do we extract in learning on how to be better, how to grow from those challenges, and really present them in opportunities that we can maximize.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so I'm going to echo that. It's not much more that I can say to that, because I know that, as Black women, we all have unique challenges and unique things that we face. We're not a monolith, but there is a common thread there. And and I think the quote kind of talks about it, this notion of strength, this notion of, being strong and sturdy and durable and reliable. And so for me, as a Black woman, I try to embrace vulnerability as much as I do strength. And my orientation is an orientation of service, and I do a lot, and I am humbled and privileged. I always say I have Black woman privilege. I walk around in the world with Black woman privilege, because I do see it as a privilege. I like the skin and the demographical box that I carry with me. They inform my practice. They allow me to be an empathetic leader, to always lead with integrity. And so when I think about it, I serve, but I also have this principle of reciprocity. Things will not come back to me void. My service will not come back to me void. And that's not talking about money or prestige or influence. It's really talking about, again, about that legacy, and being able to be somebody that people in my community can look up to, in different models and different ways of understanding Black women, who, regardless of whether or not you're sitting at the board table or at your kitchen table, it doesn't matter. And so for me, the challenge is, for me, fuel. And so I don't want, I think that people may see, gender and race as a challenge. I think that that's an issue with the system. That is not an issue of my personhood. That's a value added. To have a Black woman operate in economic development is something that the city is made better by. And if it starts to challenge me and there's no reciprocity, that means that we need to make adjustments to the system. I'm not necessarily looking to make adjustments to myself. And so the last thing that I will add is that when I do face a challenge, and maybe it intersects at my gender and my race, I am always trying to figure out, is the problem in the room that I'm Black, or is the problem that I'm a girl? So let's talk, we have to deal with those two things, separately. I said, because first I'm Black, and second, I'm a woman. That's how I see myself. And so I'm always trying to figure out, what bias box are you checking, so that I can uncheck that box for you and we can move forward.
Yes, thank you both. Thank you so much.
It's like, do you have like Diamonte said, you have like a list of minorities you fit in? Like, which one are we going against right now? But that was great. So I wanted to lead with Diamonte on this question. So we always talk about staying true to ourselves, especially as women, as Black women. How do you stay true to yourself, and what exactly does that look like to you? And then Marita, if you could follow up right there.
Sure. So I actually have a personal sort of vision statement, or a personal value statement for myself, and I'm going to share it with you guys. And some that have seen me present may have heard me talk about this before. But my value statement is that, my intention is to lead in a way that positively impacts the people, places, and systems I engage with, one authentic encounter at a time. And so for me, that's a North Star. if I feel frustrated, if I feel, if things are challenging me, or if I feel like I'm being asked to do something that deviates from my core, I always look to my North Star. Like, why do I do what I do? What are my values? I'm not, I'm intrinsically motivated. I'm motivated to make things better and to solve problems. I'm not motivated, like, again, by prestige, influence, or money. Those things are a byproduct of doing what you're supposed to do. And so I think for me, having your North Star and understanding your blind spots, there are things that are going to trip leaders up. There are a lot of pitfalls for leadership. So if you don't have your North Star and that internal locus of control to really understand why you do what you do and who you are in leadership, they will eat you alive. They will eat you alive. And so for me, it's making sure that I'm practicing my leadership in a way that is making me, when I look in the mirror, I still got to be able to atone for Diamonte Walker. Like, that's what I have to be able to do. And so I just encourage women that, we call it the true north. So there's a book, I'm a reader, so I'm gonna share books with you guys. There's a book by Bill George called True North, and it helps you to look at those challenges. They're called crucibles. And so if you know anything about a crucible kind of grinds you down and can transform you into purified gold. And so, for me, it's like, how do you use those crucible moments and those challenges to become even more authentic in your practice?
Thank you.
Ooh, okay, I'm trying to write down all the quotes in the book. Okay. Ooh, yeah. I mean, Diamante. I just love Diamante. If I could just take a couple, just like real quick space to when I first met Diamante in this conference in Baltimore about vacant properties. Diamante, I don't know if you remember. Yes,
I remember. You were my ride home.
It was a ride. But that conversation from Baltimore to Pittsburgh, I was so inspired. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta stay in contact with her. She just dropping all of these ideas. So what y'all got in just the past 2 minutes, that whole 3-hour ride, I had the notebook out. My friend was driving. I was like, okay, this digital divide, do. Like, I love it. So again, just always so happy to be in this space and so proud of you, Diamante. So now to, yes, like just Black women acknowledging other Black women and appreciating. So back to how do you stay true to yourself? I love that North Star. That's what's going to sustain you. I mean, definitely many of you have seen some of the challenges that I've faced that have been very public in the past year. But it always goes back to, why did you do this? Why did you run for mayor? Why did you run for council? Why did you start civically? And it's not about me. It's about the community. And at the end of the day, and Diamante said that I have to answer and be confident in the decisions that I've made for myself. I can't get caught up in the outside noise. I can't get caught up in the Facebook chatter and all those different things. I have to, which I've always stated, it's never been about the title or role for me. It's always about the work. It is always about the work. The titles maybe help build a platform to showcase the work, but if you don't have the work, what do you really have? So that's what, again, it always centrals is, why did I do this? I saw a need in my community. We weren't getting the answers. I didn't think we were being represented in the way we could. And that has continued on, and that's what sustains me. So at the end of the day, that I know that I've given everything that I can to not only Wilkinsburg, but this region, and that's where I sit and stand in, and that's, ultimately, and, I am a believer, so ultimately it's really what he says, but knowing that I've done the work and that I feel confident in what I've done and the decisions that I have made as well too. And but then again, that leadership, it comes back to knowing who you are, because like you said, Diamante, Siobhan, they will eat you all up. You can just look and you could get caught up in all of that. And, there's some people who may want to feed you, oh, I heard so-and-so and so-and-so, but what are you doing to combat that? And that's why we have to be so strong within ourselves, because you can never discredit the work. You may want to try to attack somebody's character, this, that, and the other, but the work will always stand. And that goes to the true being of, why are we in this?
Yes.
I totally agree. And I will also just chime in a little bit as well. When I worked for a large organization in Pittsburgh, the department that I was in, I was actually the only woman, well, I won't say that, the only Black woman in that department. And many of my meetings were with older white men, and they used to me, I would call them the men in suits, because they would be in suits. And I didn't have any, to be honest, any Black women role models. I did not. So when I went into the meetings, even though I was knowledgeable, I didn't feel like I should be there. I didn't give myself that credit. Like, you went to school, you have the degree, you're knowledgeable, you do your work. I just didn't. I didn't believe in myself like I should have. So being able to see Black women having, see y'all in these spaces, y'all are running things, y'all are doing things, highly educated, giving back, like, it's great to see. It's great to see. Now that I'm older, of course I believe in myself and I know I can do all things and so forth. But when you're young and you don't have those role models and you don't see that, you doubt yourself. You doubt yourself. That'll move into my next question for you guys. Women make up only 5% of Fortune 500 CEOs. And the largest nonprofits are about 18% of women that are led by women, which kind of blew my mind as I was, doing some research on this. As girls and women across the world face new obstacles and challenges, the existence of fearless, visible role models is invaluable. For the next generation of women leaders, girls and young women, sorry guys, I got kids. Girls and young women, they need to see us. They need to see it to believe it, basically. So can you tell me how you're navigating the responsibilities to create the next generation of women leaders?
I'll just start. Since when did I first run for office? 2013. And I was not only one of the few Black women kind of in office around here in Allegheny County, but also definitely the youngest. But year by year, I started seeing more of my peers join. At first when I was running, when I ran for council, some of my friends were like, what? You're going to do that? You're going to get into budgets, infrastructure. But, as we get older, now, I'm 35. Most of my friends are also homeowners. They have kids, children, education. So interests that maybe weren't there 8 years ago have, expanded and realizing, no, we have to be a very active part of the legislative process. So that I started noticing the change in 2017, where I felt like, not even I felt like, I was always, asked, can you speak on this panel about Black women in politics, Black women in politics? And I'm like, well, where is everybody else? This is crazy. It feels like it's just me. But now fast forward to 2021, that I can honestly, if I'm not able to participate, I can give a slate of people who people can contact. Now we have 4 Black women mayors, 4 other Black women mayors in Allegheny County, state rep, council people, school board people. So that representation really matters. And even pre-COVID, when I would talk to the students, especially Black girls, who just, maybe didn't even think being a politician, being an elected official could even be a part of their trajectory. So when I'm coming to them and saying mayor, and they're leaving there, and that's what really is just one of the true highlights, is that when leaving the schools after speaking, and I hear the kids talking after I leave, like, oh, well, I'm going to be mayor here and I'm going to be mayor. I'm like, yes, be mayor here. And so that representation just truly so matters. And I know Diamonte is going to speak for herself, but even seeing Diamonte as deputy director of our urban redevelopment, what does that mean for Black-led development efforts, Black women-led development efforts in this region? That is groundbreaking. So once you get more of us in these roles, Siobhan, Tanisha, the work you're doing with Riverside, Siobhan, what you're doing with CoLab, that just changes the game. And for all of our audience, everybody joining us, that representation matters, so that you see all of us in all of these, I don't even want to say boxes, but these fields. And that is what's crucial.
So I just want to echo something that you said there, Mayor Garrett. The representation is so critically important, and I think that part of, representation requires a multiplier effect. That means that we have to create more so that those representational images become normal, and we talk about Black excellence. It's Black normalcy, right? We have to normalize the contributions of Black people and not treat them as though we have, done some amazing feat. And again, if you've heard me speak, I'll say this: I am the first Black female director in the URA's 74-year history. I am its first Black female deputy executive director in its Black history. But I don't say that to say, look at Diamonte, she's the first. But here's the point: I can't be the last, right? Like, that's what this is all about. I can be the first, but I cannot be the last. And also, it should not have taken this long. I am not the first Black woman in 74 years to grace the doors of 200 Ross Street, worthy of a directorship. Like, it's just insane. It's crazy, right? And so we've got to do better. And so the thing that I will say, I'm gonna drop another book here. And so I really, when you ask the question about how do we create more Black female leaders, I look at the 5 levels of leadership by John Maxwell. And the 5 level of leadership, I'm going to be very quick with this. The very lowest level of leadership is position. The title you hold, the organization you work for, it's the very lowest form of leadership. Because you will often see people in leadership positions, they're like, tell me why this person is my boss, help me understand this. The second thing is permission. People follow you because they want to, right? They're like, I think that person's kind of was built on relationships. The third is production, the results, that you can actually live up to it and you actually can sit in that seat that you hold. People feel proud of your work. They feel inspired by your work. The fourth and fifth are the most important, and it's how I think we get to creating more Black women leaders. And that is, number 4 is people development. And the 5th pinnacle is that you start creating other leaders. And so the thing for me, what I want to do with my seat while I'm here at the URA or wherever I go, I want to make sure that I am creating and supporting Black women in being able to walk a path and being able to reach that pinnacle. That is really the goal, the mentorship and the stewardship and the partnership that's required. If you ever hear me as a slip of the tongue, I don't say that people work for me. People work with me, right? We work for a common vision. We work for a common goal. People don't work for me. They're not my employees, right? They're my partners. And so my executive assistant is on the phone here, Daniel Grantham. I couldn't be here today and be fully prepared if it weren't for Daniel, right? And and Daniel's a young white man, right? So it's interesting to see this dichotomy of the inverse. But I really just try to make sure that I may be the first, and that's wonderful, but the whole goal of this is not to be the last.
I think that's great. And as you were speaking, you both actually touched on, which was our next question, which was going to be the importance of not being a gatekeeper, because I think that actually happens a lot, especially in the entrepreneurship industry. You see that a lot. It's like some unwritten secret to not help the next person coming up, especially if you feel like they're your quote unquote competition. But I'm very glad you touched on that topic. But I wanted to switch things up for a little lighter topic about life in general. So especially as a woman, you're balancing so many things. You want to be the best of all the things you have on your plate. You want to be the best mom, on the other hand, which takes so much time, so much effort by itself. But then you want to be the best, you want to chase your career goals and your dreams, which also takes so much time, so much effort. And you're kind of stuck in this, I only have 24 hours in a day, I only have 7 days a week. So we want to ask you, what is your life balancing tip as far as assuming your position in your leadership role, as well as in your family, and just anything that you do in your life outside of work? Yes. Marita, if you want to go ahead.
Oh, okay. But I do want to talk about gatekeeping real quick. So
Sure.
Will we come back to that, or should I?
No, you can go ahead.
No, you put it now. That's fine.
Okay, because that is really big here, and Diamonte just segued into that, and so there's room for everybody. I just don't get why we think there's finite, that there can only be that Black organization, or there's only can be one Black person running for that, or why even Black people can't run against Black people here. there's enough for everybody. And so once we can get out of that, then we will see, we're already doing so much of the work and, pushing for so much of this equity, but we have to remove that idea amongst ourselves that there's only room for this person, or that if you even help this person out, that could take a chance away from you. I'm like, no, everybody can eat, and everybody should be representing and using their talents to the maximum. So in terms of not being a gatekeeper, I'm like, yes, we need more women, Black women specifically, run for office, because I was also appalled that I'm the first Black female mayor in Wilkinsburg, a predominantly Black community that has had Black mayors for the past 3-4 decades. And so much so that someone had to tell me when I was running, like, oh, you would be the first Black female mayor. And I'm like, what? You just what are we doing? What are we doing? And so it can't end here. It can't end with having first Black state rep, first Black deputy director of, it has to keep going. But we have to recognize and not get greedy, in which, sometimes so many people do, because I face these challenges where I'm looking for people for mentorship, but there's that mindset, oh no, sis, you could be competition, wait your turn, maybe when I'm done 20-30 years down the road, I may drop some gems of wisdom. We're not even in competition. If anything, I respect you and I want to learn from you, and it would be it would be prudent for me to reach out to work together. So getting rid of that sense of competition and really focus on the collaboration. As cliche as it is, there's strength in numbers, but we're only doing ourselves a disservice when there's gatekeeping and no succession planning. How many, and then I'm gonna wrap this part up because I see myself going, but how many organizations do we have where their identity was so tied to one person that when they retired or went on the glory, that they're just at a standfall or it's closed? We have to stop that. We're only hurting ourselves.
I agree. I just wanted to piggyback what she said. There's so many seats at the table. There's enough for all of us. If you looking outside these corporations, like you said, only, what did you say, Sean, 3 or 5% make up CEOs? How many other CEOs are there? So it's like, I agree. I just wanted to agree with that.
So I will answer. I want to say one thing, because I love that you touched on this notion of competition. And I think that when you have a scarcity mindset, competition looks like undermining. When we work from abundance, competition is a very healthy thing. Like, if you are a Black woman in economic development or community development, come and compete with me. Like, I will put my skills up against anybody, and if I have somebody that I can see on my left or to my right, we're going to sharpen each other's irons. I'm going to make you better. You're going to make me better.
Yeah.
Please come and compete with me, because there's no way to do succession planning if you are not working with the rigor that I am working with. I have the confidence, and and there's always going to be a space for me, because I'm going to make a space for myself. You understand? Do you think somebody sat down and said, I think we should have a Black woman deputy director? Like, no. Competition brought the rigor. You understand what I'm saying? I understand my values. I think that we have to when we're in a scarcity mindset, oh my goodness, competition is a very ugly thing. When we are thinking from a place of abundance and thinking about that compound interest, you want the competition. So I'll say that. And I'll talk a little bit about, being a working mom, a wife, a mother. That's, if you see my bio, that's the thing that I am most proud of, hailing from the Hill District, my children, my husband, because I certainly couldn't sit on this panel if there weren't other people making sacrifices, right? And so, but I will say this, I think that work-life balance is a fallacy. I do not believe that it's a real thing. I think the best that we can get to is work-life blend. And so I only have 3 things that I can do at a time. I can be really good at my job, really on the nail with my family, and really on the nail with my health. And if you try to throw in a 4th thing, which is like friends and outside activity, probably not going to have time for it. But sometimes I spin things off and I say, you know what? I've been really killing it as a mom for about 3 months, for about 90 days. Not that I'm ever giving up on my children, but children need space, right? And so while they're taking space and they're growing and developing, I'm putting in some of my hobbies for a little, for a quarter or so, and I'm really focusing on me. You don't do any one thing too long, because you have to blend these things together. And I really think that you get to balance. But I think we try to say 33.33% for my kids, 33.33% for my job. Like, it doesn't work like that. I try to show up where people need me. I have a very competent and capable, co-workers that I work with, the staff that I work with. They don't need me to be on it every single day, all day. I can take vacation. I can breathe. I can, and do some other things. I think that's how we get, because if not, you're going to burn yourself out. You're going to be resentful, and you're not going to be able to lead effectively. And, I don't ever want you guys to say, Diamonte is such a strong, like, I do not subscribe to that. I am human. If you cut me, I bleed. If you hurt my feelings, I cry. I assure you, I'm not magic. I'm just a Black woman trying to be of service, but I'm a human being at the end of the day, and I try to remind myself of that.
Thank you. Yes.
Grace. That's what the one of my words this year. The grace, like you said, you can't, and nor should we always be on 100% of the time. And I love that blend. I'm using that totally, because sometimes, we see about the self-care, which is true. We need to give ourselves rest. But sometimes I'm like, I don't think I can do self-care 2 days in a row, because I have deadlines that need to be met. Yet, next week I'll just schedule for a lighter week, so it's not so hurriedly. And so we have to stop kind of projecting what we think are quote unquote balances or the right way to attack it. Everyone is different. Like, I'm still going to get my sleep regardless, just because I need, rest.
That's right.
I'm still going to get my sleep, but I understand sometimes, okay, you know what? You don't really have time to catch up with your friend today. Trying to do that in a couple days, hit some of these deadlines, and let's go. But also having grace with ourselves. I mean, the fact that we all here made it out of 2020, that was not a light feat. So, I'm definitely not taking any day for granted, and giving myself grace, and, also knowing your effectiveness. Some nights maybe I can burn the midnight oil. Some nights I'm just like, I can't look at the screen and it's only 8 p.m. Don't feel bad about that. You did what you could with what you had, and tomorrow's a new day. And that's kind of what I look at, how I try to carry day to day with my tasks. Is, hit some of those points, and however you feel, that's how you feel, and it'll get done tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely.
You dropped some real quotable things by saying, blending, know your worth in all your relationships, not just your personal relationship.
So true. And Tanisha and I, we talk about this all the time with working mothers, and
we always say, we can show up, you can show up. Because I got kids screaming in the back. We the only two that got kids screaming in the background. We don't want to hear.
I'm telling you. And we be doing 50 things at one time in a meeting. We be doing 50 things at one time. It's crazy. But we also, like, for myself, working full time, trying to run a business, married, got 6 kids, pulled in. I have 5 kids that are doing virtual learning right now. 5. So yeah, there's a lot. And then some days, like you said, I need a break. Some days I don't want to look at email. I don't want to check phone messages or anything. Like, I don't want to do any type of electronics, or I want to just take the kids and we go do a fun day where it's just, I'm gonna focus only on you, only on the family, only on husband. So you, like you said, blending.
You have to.
You have to blend. That's right. Thank you, ladies. So
I'm glad my kids see that going to my job as fun. Thank God for my coworkers, because you go play with Miss Judy, or go say hi to Mr. Walker while I'm down here finishing up this email. Go ahead. And they give them candy and keep them busy, and I'm like,
yes,
we all win.
And also, too, I just want to mention this as well, Marita. I have a daughter who is 16, and she's in 11th grade. She absolutely loves politics. Now I know when I was her age, I did not think about that at all. You know, my mom she always instilled in us, definitely go and vote. She voted every time it was time to vote, she was voting. And she would take us with her, but I never thought more into it. And not at all. But she loves everything about politics. And I'm like, sweetie, because she's like, I don't know if I really want to go to college. I don't really know what I want to do. So I've been trying to just put her in little things here and there to give her an idea of there's so many things you can do. There's just not lawyers and doctors and nurses and teachers. There's an array of things you can do. There's an organization called GirlGov.
I was just gonna say, Women and Girls Foundation. Yep.
Yes, that I'm trying to get her to be a part of, and just to broaden her horizons. And like I said, back in the day when I was going to school, I am older, but I am older. I just turned 41. But back in the day, there were no black role models really, except for I'm gonna say I had a teacher here and there. I had a black teacher here and there, but I didn't know of any nurses or, we didn't have any doctors or lawyers in my family or family friends. So, just exposing the kids to that and showing them that what they can actually be and do is great. I love that.
Yeah, it goes back to representation. And even with politics doesn't just mean running for office. And that's one of the things I love about the GirlGov program is that they show all the fields within the public sector. So you have, Diamonte, I think you spoke to GirlGov before too?
Maybe.
Okay, probably. Let's say she has to. Okay, but again, so you're getting.
I believe that I did. You know what? I believe that I did. Why you have such an excellent memory because things start to blend together, right?
Okay,
you did some. This will stick out in my mind though because we're having such a riveting conversation, and I love that you're saying that your daughter is, politically inclined because you need that political skills to navigate corporate environments, right? You need it's not just about politics with a capital P, like elected officials. Like you got to understand the dynamics at play. You will see that the two books that I recommended are written by white men. Why am I reading books by white men? Because I want to understand how they think. I want to understand how how they run their station. Like, because in my opinion, I have an equal seat at the table, and I'm not waiting for them to tell me that. You got to have that common currency and that common language, and that's a part of being politically astute and politically aware.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Tanisha, did you have any other questions? Let's check the chat as well. I don't want to ignore anyone in the chat. If you have any questions, please definitely put them in there.
Yes, Jessica Woods is amazing. Brother Marlon shouting her out. Yeah, woo, just killing it.
She is.
There are icons amidst us. I mean, honestly, it's so wonderful to see so many Black women contributing and leading at every level. And that's why I said it's not about a title. It's not about an organization. It's like whatever you're doing in your service, it deserves to be, I love that you called this like women in the future because we know the contributions of women in the past. We're making the future right now, like in real time. And so if we don't see the images that we want, we've got to become the images that we want, and we've got to raise the images that we want. And there's a responsibility, to do that.
Yes, there is.
Yeah.
We agree.
Yeah, I always try to remind my daughter, like, we are the highest population of educated humans, especially in America, girl. Don't forget. Don't let them tell you what you're not.
That's right. That is right. I loved how, and I know this is a little off topic, but I loved how Target had their Black History Month section this year. Did y'all see that? With the different
I didn't see it. No.
Target really focus on representation, which I love. They have their shirts with the African American, I guess, face on with puffballs. They have the dolls. They have Black beauty, skincare, soap lines. They're really on it. I love Target anyway, but now I have a reason not to.
Now you give them more, right?
Now I don't have to lie about it.
Right. Living your truth, right?
They really did. They did a really good job. It was with a lot of students who were in universities. They put together with the shirts, the tops, the books, cards, everything. But the kids and I, we went to Target and we were looking at some of their books, and I allowed them to pick up a book, and this is 28 days. Although you can see it here.
Wow.
But some of the stuff, because I know we focus on in Black History Month, we focus on Martin Luther King and so forth, and I'm not saying that we should not. I just wanted to show my kids that there are so many amazing Black people that have done, sorry, that's my daughter, that have done some amazing things. Like today we were talking about the gentleman who made the washer, and I totally forgot his name because my mind is everywhere. But a Black man actually invented the washing machine, and just stuff like, just showing them that there is so many amazing Black people. Give me a second, sweetie. Out there.
And they are amazing Black people, right? I mean, they are, I think we've been conditioned in this country again to place the everyday normal things on a pedestal, as if to say Black people have got to make some major contribution in order to be seen as valuable, and we don't. We have to live. We have to breathe. That is what we have to do to be considered extraordinary. Because for a Black person, living and breathing is not something that we can take for granted, right? Not in this country. It's not something that we can take for granted. And so you guys, these were wonderful questions today. They really made me think. And I don't know, are we taking questions from the audience? Or I don't want to get ahead of you.
No. I was definitely checking the chat to see if we had any questions in there. And I think we just had a lot of comments because y'all said some amazing the books, the quotes, like they're...
Okay. Oh, the chat, okay.
I was just checking the chat.
That's right, Grace and Hustle. I love that. That's that'd be like a book line. Also, I want, and everyone else raise your hand, I would like Diamonte to start a book club. Because now I got 3 that I added my list today.
Leaders are readers. That's what I say. Yes. Readers are leaders.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
I'm going to Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh to sponsor that book.
Yes, Shamira.
Yeah. Like the whole library system. Wilkinsburg Library too. I visit there. So
I see you. Yes, and you had a program there too. So yes.
My son wants to start a clothing line, so I'm definitely gonna be feeding him these quotes. Like, girl, put this on a hoodie.
Yes. Grace and Hustle.
But we did want to thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you so much.
We are, like Siobhan said, we are going to be doing this every Wednesday. So next weekend we're going to be focusing on like mental health, mothering, going back to work, all that. This whole segment, the whole series will be focused around professional women of color. Not just women of color. We don't want to be exclusive, but we just want a space where you can come and maybe learn about us or chime in or just whatever you want. Everybody's welcome, but that's just our topics for this series that we're going on right now.
And next month is women's. Yes,
what is Women's History? Okay.
Yes.
We also want to thank our sponsors, Comcast, Xfinity.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Comcast.
Thank you, Comcast.
This was a great start to the series, guys. A great start.
This was
amazing. Women are amazing. You really, truly.
You all are. We all are. Everyone on here. And I thank you for creating this space to have these real conversations. At the beginning of the chat, how we said how we just love the name Work in Real Life, because this is real. Your kids asking for you while this is real. And this is and actually that is kind of the beauty of Zoom, is people need to understand real lives are happening as we're working. It doesn't stop. So showcasing that. So no, thank you for carving out this space.
And so I applaud you on your vision. I think it takes vision to create something new, and we've been using the word pivot a lot, but I know that you guys do a lot of programming. You convene a lot of different tables, and so I just want to take my hat off to you, Tanisha and Siobhan, for coming up with this vision, because I think that you're going to get this is a lot of great content that's going to be able to be shared across networks to start to continue to connect our communities together. So Women of Vision, I love it.
Thank you so much.
And we hope that everybody will see everybody next week as well, and that flyer will be going out.
All right.
today.
Right,
Thank
right
you.
after
I had
that.
to think about it like, no, we're going to do it today.
And thank you, Juan. Juan has been quiet there, so I thank you,
Shows me
Juan.
why I
Juan
tried
has
to
been
say
such a
one.
Thank you,
supporter.
Juan.
Yeah, such a
AKA
supporter
cousin.
of women.
Right.
Juan has plugged me so many
amazing.
times in my career. I was like, when Juan endorses you for something, you know you're working with something.
Seriously, yes.
Just really thank them. We wanted to think outside the box and really deal with the real issues that's happening in our community. And I think this is the very first one you hit 2 grand slams.
Yes, you did. You guys did
I
great.
would say, one does one thing that I've never had a boss do, and he kind of just drops this thing on you and be like, go do what you want with it. It gotta run with it. And then Mr. Boss, he was like, cool.
That's called level 5 leadership.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Juan. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Siobhan. Thank you, Tanisha. You guys are amazing. And if you are I would love to sponsor one of these. So if you guys get in contact with Daniel can set it up. Tell him what you need, and we'll do a sponsorship of some of these conversations for sure.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Synergy.
We definitely want to have you back. So we're definitely inviting you back. Both you and Marita, we're both inviting you back.
All right.
Please do. I would love it.
I'll be here.
All
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Mayor Garrett.
Bye, Diamante.
That was amazing.